Hey everyone, I'm still alive and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about ZZZ, another game from Hoyo that was released a couple of days ago. I am playing this game quite a lot, and now that I pretty much finished everything available besides the classic DPS check and slow account progression that we have in many gacha games, I'm more than ready to finally give my opinion about ZZZ. This game is getting a lot of mixed opinion, and most of them are actually going to be in the extremes. Either you love this game or you hate it. There are some points that I can somewhat agree with the community and can completely understand why some people found this game to be underwhelming or even disappointing. Character design wise, I can understand why some people dislike it. I have no problems with characters that have animal traits or furry characters, but I'm not a huge fan of the amount of little girls that we have. But honestly, this is the only problem that I have with the character designs in this game, because everything else feels completely new and different. Art style for me is one of the best points in the game, especially in the event and some promo arts, where they decided to use this cartoonish style instead of the default anime and chibi style that we usually see from Hoyo. Combat animations feels in the right spot. They are flashy, but not to the point where they can distract you from the combat itself. For the music, even though I find it insanely good, especially the city ones, I find that some of the combat soundtrack can get a bit boring after listening to them a couple of times. Of course, we can now simply mute the song and play something else in the background, but having an option to change the combat soundtrack would be a nice addition to the game. Now for the story, because if you're familiar with Hoyo games, then you already know they like to make some heavy lore games. You know, one of the reasons why it took so long for me to make a video about my thoughts on ZZZ is because I was trying to finish all of the available main story content. The last chapter available is unlocked on your internet level 36, so it ends up taking some time to play through everything. In any case, if you're familiar with Hoyo games and plans to play ZZZ because of the story, then let me tell you once again that this is a bit different from what we have when compared to Genshin and Star Rail. The reason why is because ZZZ is character driven. You're not going to get a huge focus on the main plot of the game, but instead you're going to get a lot of content related to the main characters and their interactions with other characters. But this doesn't mean that the story is bad at all. As someone who didn't play any of the closed betas, I had a really great experience through the story. The delivery is also insanely good. This comic style makes things super interesting to watch, and on top of it, it's also fully voiced. Speaking of being fully voiced, listening to the main character when picking options through the main story is also a great addition. One voice line per patch for the main character? Well, leave this to another game. We also get some trust events that are going to randomly appear through your game. These trust events add more depth for characters, but also reward you with some events that can be triggered when doing Hollow Zero. But don't think Hoyo isn't planning some huge lore for this game. We had a lore teaser released by the ZZZ official social media, and some really nice drops in the very last available main story quest. For the gameplay, there are two major complaints that players have. The first one is the TV gameplay, which can be really boring for a lot of players. Look, I'm used to playing slow-paced games, but let's say that I'm searching for ZZZ trailers and gameplays, and the very first thing that I'm going to see is flashy combat, reflex checks, and pretty much a hack and slash experience. So I download the game, create my account, and suddenly there's a lot of TVs here? This is a dungeon crawler, a retro game. So you see, there is a little problem with how the game tries to advertise itself and how the game experience actually feels. For me, the slow-paced gameplay that we have in the TVs are completely fine. But for a lot of people, this isn't what they sign up for. So it just feels natural for a lot of players to complain about it, because it's not only flashy combat just like we have in every single character teaser and demo so far. Most of the endgame content and some side quests are combat only related, so you're not going to get a lot of it later in the game. The second point is that the combat itself is actually boring. You can simply mash your basic attack button and clear almost all of the story related content without a problem, even if you're playing the challenge mode, which was supposed to be a more challenging experience. While I can't deny that this is actually true, I feel that the problem is actually somewhere else. The very first thing is that Hoyo stated that they wanted the game to be playable even if you are a more casual player, but I feel that they went a little bit too hard when thinking about the casual player experience. So what's the point of playing the challenge mode if the gameplay is not going to be rewarding? And second, I feel that some of this boring gameplay feeling actually comes from how the progression feels a little bit slow. Some of the gameplay systems such as disc farming, trust events, and Hollow Zero stages take some time to be unlocked, and increasing your Internaut level also takes time. Couple this with the slow-paced TV gameplay, long stories, and chances are it's going to snowball into a boring experience. The reason for this is because ZZZ Zero is actually designed to be more of a side game that relies on slow and daily progression. They could lower some of the level requirements for the main story content, but the reason I say that the game was designed to rely on slow and daily progression is because of the coffee system that we have in the game. Unlike most of other gacha games, including Hoyo ones, where you get a lot of stamina potions from the main story and account progression, ZZZ Zero gives you way less potions. Instead, you get a daily coffee that you can't stockpile and requires you to log in daily in order to drink it. So the final question is, does it get better later? And here's my honest answer. This game is actually good from the very first minute that you open the game. You may actually disagree and find the endgame combat experience way better than the story progression, because it actually is. But if you're not having fun with the game, maybe the game is actually just not for you. Hoyo could also have done a better job when advertising the game because, as I pointed before, you have zero to no clue of the slow-paced TV gameplay. This game is 100% targeting a different demographic than previous titles from Hoyo, and I love this one. Don't feel forced to play the game just because it gets better later. If you're not having fun, you are free to quit it. It's like telling someone to watch One Piece and saying, hey, you just need to watch 400 episodes before it gets better, trust me. It doesn't make sense. So yeah, that's it for my opinion of the game. I'm also planning to make some character guides and a beginner guide with some tips. So if you're looking for more ZZZ related content, be sure to subscribe. Let me know what you think about ZZZ Zero in the comments down below. Remember to like the video if you like it, and thanks for watching, and have a beautiful day.